Oh yeah. Was that just something from Pulp Fiction that I heard playing there? Yeah, yeah, it was. What's it called? It's called the Chest Tears or something. I don't know. What do I know? I'm just a DJ here doing a show. What do I know, right? That's the way it goes. But everything looks like it's going good here. Everything's rolling. We are rolling on Your City, Your Voice. 4680Q Radio in downtown Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada. My name is Paul Caleb here, coming to you live in the studio. So anybody listening on 4680Q, the internet radio station, 4680Q.com, is hearing it live. The video is being rolled right now, and it'll definitely be on YouTube a little bit later on today. So there you go. You can watch it on video. You can watch it on or listen to it on audio, whichever you like. And thank you for tuning in. It's Thursday, September 5th. And here we are again on Straight Talking Thursday, and we got lots to talk about today. Lots going on all the time. You know that, right? So let's see here. Just plugging everything in the way it should be plugged in, getting our volumes going, and everything's good. First, I want to talk about my sponsors. Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop and Hamilton Glowstone Lighting. Yeah, it's that time of year. We're in September now. You know what's coming. It's inevitable. It's going to get here sometime. We don't know when. So far, it's beautiful out today. Look at it. It's going to be maybe 80 degrees out there. It's just a gorgeous day. But eventually, you got to get those winter tires on. You got to get your oil change. You got to get your tune-up done. You got to get all your systems ready to go to make sure that you have a comfortable driving winter. So what do? You go to Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop. You talk to Ken Hunter. He plugs your car into his diagnostic equipment, tells you what's wrong, fixes the problems, changes your oil, makes your car really happy. Yeah, so it don't break down. And when it breaks down, when you least expect it, and the least you least don't want it to break down. The Murphy's Law, it's going to break down when you're in the rush or whatever, where you're going somewhere and you don't want to be bothered. So get it in. Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, Oakwood Drive in Niagara Falls, Ontario, right next to the Kia dealership. Now, they also have a full body shop. So if you get into a wreck, whether it's a minor fender bender or a major collision, get your car towed to Wild Bill's. He's going to make it good again, bring it out of his shop in showroom condition. You're going to be happy. He's going to be happy. I'm going to be happy that you support our sponsors. Everybody's happy. And here we are. So Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop. Because you can. Give him a call. Go to the website, wildbillsauto.ca. Check it out and make sure that you have happy motoring from now, at least until, next year, right? Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. It is. And like I say, the weather right now is beautiful, so you wouldn't suspect. I was walking down the street and was talking to a gentleman named Ricardo, and he said I should move to Belize. And I didn't argue with him. I mean, if we get this weather all year round, I'm happy. I'm not a big fan of winter at all. And if it's a bad day out and snowing like crazy, I don't do the show. I just don't bother because, maybe this year I'll throw it on video because I'll do it at home. Yeah, do it in a home studio. But other than that, I mean, it's just I'm not going out in this weather. I'm too old for that crap. Yeah, I don't like it. So, what's the big news today? Well, hold up those tankards. Where's the booze? Corner stores can sell beer now. At 7 o'clock this morning, those corner stores were allowed to sell beer, wine, and pre-mixed alcoholic drinks, and you better believe they're doing it. I would imagine there's going to be drunkards all over the street celebrating. Kids are going to be walking down the street shotgunning Maximum Ice to celebrate. Yeehaw! Yeah. No, that's not what's going to happen. That's your woke nanny state talking. What's going to happen is this. Nothing. That's right. You won't even know it's happening. Just like when they put it in grocery stores, everybody's going to be running to grocery stores. Oh, housewives are going to be getting drunk in the aisles and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. No, it never happened. That's not going to happen. These are the woke nanny guys. Think the government's got to control everything, which they don't. We know that. We're old enough and we're wise enough to deal with it. Oh, yeah. there is a segment of the population that is easily addicted to anything, whether it's sex, gambling, drugs, booze, you name it. But very small percentage. Most people are responsible, and they're going to treat this with a responsible attitude. Life's going to go on. The corner store guy is going to have the third leg of his arsenal, the triumvirate. He's going to have the cigarettes, lottery tickets, and now booze. It's going to make him a lot more than just selling milk and bread. So good for him. I'm glad for the corner stores. They have this, of course, with great power comes great responsibility. They're going to have to actually patrol this and make sure they aren't selling to underage people in that. But although some people make a big deal out of this, the bottom line is they've been selling cigarettes and lottery tickets for years. They know what they're doing. There's no problem here. They know what they're doing. They have it under control. Don't let all this static that you're hearing from everybody do it. This is the unions talking. Of course, they don't want to lose their position as a monopoly. Why would they? If I worked for the beer store, liquor store, you think I want to lose anything? The corner stores? A lot more corner stores in Niagara Falls than there are beer stores. Let me put it that way, or liquor stores. It's all going to cut into their monopoly, and that's why you're getting the static from unions and stuff. But the bottom line is, it's a great idea whose time has come. It's long overdue, if you ask me. And we got to break up these monopolies, the beer store and liquor store, and move them to private enterprise and get the government out of it. Because when the government runs anything, there's 1,000 layers of bureaucracy, and there's a bunch of people making tons of money to run this whole shebang, which doesn't happen in private industry. So hopefully, it's a great day for store operators and Ontarians who move away from the dark ages and into the 21st century. We don't have to be too happy yet. Big Brother is going to be monitoring your sales with proactive inspections to monitor your compliance to the rules. So corner store owners, you do have responsibility, and we expect that as the public. We want you to sell stuff, but we also want to make sure that it's not getting into the wrong hands, and you are patrolling it for us. And they'll take appropriate action, the government, if these guys break the rules, which includes adhering to opening and closing hours and carding people to make sure minors do not secure the devil's brew. Evil. But there are going to be limitations on stores, too. There's a requirement to have at least 20% of shelf space for beer and cider that is devoted to local brands. So we want to support our local craft breweries and places like that. So they're gonna have to have 20% of their shelf space for that. So that's that, and 40% for local Ontario wines to give local producers a shot at the major brands. So yeah, even craft breweries, wine, we can't sell booze in there, but distilleries do sell pre-mixed alcoholic drinks. So if we can support our local industry, that's fantastic. There's great beers around, like Taps and Blackburn Brewery and Countertop. They make some fantastic products, and there's no reason that these stores shouldn't put some of their products on the shelf. They have 20% shelf space. Of course, most of it in the beer aisles will be taken up by your big brands like Coors Light and other number one sellers. But still, at least the local places have a little shot in the shelf space. And that's good. That's good. Now, of course, corner stores are going to have to start really, really managing the business, because think about it. If you're pulling Coca-Cola and Lay's chips off shelves to get some shelf space for beer and wines and pre-mixed alcoholic drinks, they have to make sure that whatever they're pulling off the shelf is going to more than make up the revenue that they would lose from selling having more of those products and selling more of those products, because they're your top sellers, right? So they're going to have to be giving up bad shelf space and replacing it with it, and keeping enough good shelf space so they can still make a buck on that, because they do make a lot of money on that. Let's see what else is going on with them. It's good to support local breweries, right? And but the bottom line is always the bottom line. They're going to stock the brands that sell and they make money from, and the other brands they're going to stock less of. So and like I say, they're going to have to manage their products and inventories carefully. In the past, convenience stores were a little bit more expensive than other stores because they were convenient. That's why they were called convenience store. You paid a little premium for going to the corner store rather than having to rush to a big grocery store to buy stuff. And people didn't mind that. They did have their loss leaders, usually milk or something that was pretty fair priced, sometimes even better priced. But overall, the objects that you buy, the items that you buy, are more expensive than if you went to Zayre's or Walmart or somewhere. So they're going to have to really be cognizant of that, because even though they're getting beer in there, there's still going to have to be a price they sell it for to make their margins. And but you never know. Maybe they'll drop it just so they get people in the store, and that makes it good for consumers. They drop the price a little bit, so I don't think you'll see it drop too much below what the brewers retail in that. But you never know. Less overhead in that, they might have a little bit of room so that they make the shekels they need while dropping the price a touch. But either way, we'll see if their lower prices become of it. I don't know. I don't think so, but who knows? Who knows, right? We'll see. But it all starts today. It started this morning at 7 a.m. I don't know if there's people lined up. I doubt it. But it's nice little perk, if you're working, if you're working a later shift, or, you get home and you just don't feel like running out to the beer store, standing in line and all that. No, you can go to the corner store and grab a six pack. Beautiful. I like it. Over to Air Canada. If you remember, I was talking about the Air Canada strike going down on September 18th. Well, the Air Canada has made an offer to their pilots of a 30% increase in wages. Now, to me, that sounds pretty darn good, 30%. But the pilots, they were yelling about being equal to their U.S. counterparts, and they got a 42% raise last year. So I don't know if they're going to take it, but the offer's on the table, and everybody's hoping they do, because September 18th, they start closing down the airlines. It's going to be a nightmare, especially with the Canadian Thanksgiving just 2 weeks away from there, first week of October. So it's going to be interesting to see if they accept it or they say no and go on strike. But, everybody, of course, hopes they don't. But these unions are pretty powerful, and the thought of them not running, 5,400 pilots and are off duty and on strike, is going to shut down Air Canada, and they're going to lose a lot of money. I mean, the pilots will too, but Air Canada is going to lose a lot of money. And they start shutting down flights all over the world. They're international, plus they have vacations and everything else. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. But they did get an offer of 30%. Today's what I say it was today, the 5th or something? What is it, September 5th? I think it is. Yeah, September 5th. So we got 13 days, 2 weeks to see what they're going to do, these clowns. Interesting occurrence in Welland. If you are a fan of Welland, well, before City Council was a report from City Clerk Tara Stevens that council should be reduced from 12 councilors to 6, which means getting rid of 6 councilors. And that would be in the 2026 election if they pass this coming up, making council clock in at 7, including the mayor, 6 councilors, including the mayor, 7, and saving the taxpayers about $255,000. Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. Saving money. Council's saving money. Can this be? Sacre bleu. I must be imagining it. Wake me up. John Ringo Beam, wake me up. Wake me up. And it's probably more because, between now and then, they're going to give themselves raises, probably, right? You know that, right? That's what happens. So it might even be more. Woo, good. Now, Welland has half the population of Niagara Falls and has 4 more councilors. So right there, that tells me they got too many. And they make more money for being a counselor in Welland, $28,000 and change, compared to $27,000 and change for Niagara Falls. So not only do they have 4 more, they make more money than our counselors. And actually, they're the highest paid counselors in the region. Although our mayor makes $50,000 more than the Welland mayor. So our mayor's either overpaid or their mayor is underpaid, one or the other. But yeah, he makes $50,000 more. I think the Welland mayor is around 75,000, and our city mayor Mayor Diodati draws down 125,000, something like that, 121,000 a year, plus benefits and pension and perks and everything else. Of course, Welland councillors didn't really like this idea. They didn't endorse it. And they directed staff to get input from residents. So this is a funky thing. For them to say that, I'm thinking they have some inside line that residents don't want 6 councillors. They want 12. But a lot of the councillors were saying they'd go along with 8, 1 for each ward, because there's 8 wards in Welland. With 6, you're going to have to realign the wards a little bit. But they must think that the people will say, no, we want representation. We need people, so we have representation. Yes, we can't do that. So I don't know. Maybe they're taking it to the people here. Let the people say it. But the consensus on council, most people were talking to 8, which makes sense, 1 award per ward. Otherwise, they have to realign everything. And some people were talking about an at-large system. Interestingly enough, but a lot of them were against that. They said, no way. When you have a problem in your area, you want somebody that represents your area standing up at city council. They don't want an at-large system. I think we're the only people who like at-large systems. Yeah, most places, 100,000 people, most cities, municipalities in Ontario, for that matter, have ward systems, which is long overdue. But nobody on our city council, except Lori Lococo, wants to hear about it. They want everything to stay just the same as they are. Everything stays the same. Everything she's to stay the same. Yeah, so pretty weird. So they are looking at Niagara Falls, going, "Did you hear that, Niagara Falls? We don't want an at-large system," and I agree with them. It's funny that when you talk about that, we see that Niagara Falls has grown, and ward would make more sense with 1 alderman for each ward. And Lori Lococo had a town hall meeting about it. People loved it. They talked really good about it. There are some drawbacks, of course, but the case they make and city council isn't the right case to make for a ward system, but they do anyway. And of course, when Lori got up to put the motion through, it was defeated because Councilor Mike Strange got up and said, well, we don't know what the region is going to do, and we don't know what the province is going to do. They may realign everything and make Niagara Falls one big city or some other plan. So there's no use making this decision or putting it on the table until no, you put it on the table now, because it's going to take a long time to be able to push this through and get all the stuff in place to have it for 2026 election. Now it's probably too late. I don't know. I have to ask Lori about that. I know that there's still people who are pushing to put it on the agenda to have a ward system and take a vote on it. So we'll see what happens. But back to Welland, they want to contract their council to 6 councillors. That's staff recommendation. City council's recommendation is 8. We'll see how that one works out. But either way, I think if you had that and you had a ward system, and then you want to do what we were talking about last time, the money for a participatory governance, which seems to be a big fad right now that everybody's talking about. Well, it'd be better with wards, and you can allocate funds to each ward to spend as they please on the projects they please after the ward decides what they want to do with it, the people, and allocate it according to the people's wish. But don't give us $350,000 to spend. Don't insult us. $350,000. You're killing me over here. You're killing me over here. Don't do it. Take that. Put a couple more zeros on it for us, please. We beg of you. Okay, so here we go. I warned them. Police warned them. But 57 people didn't heed the warning and were issued citations for speeding in school zones on Tuesday. I shouldn't be surprised. People are dopey, right? It's back to school day. You know that the police are going to be out there because too many people are speeding around the city and going through a school zone. speeding is not good. These kids get back to school. They're all excited to see their friends. They're running around like maniacs. All it takes is one to step off the curb in front of your car, and now you got to deal with it for the rest of your life. So you slow down. You pay attention. What are you going? St. Mary's School, what is it? 300 feet? Maybe a football field long, if that? The school zone? Come on, I can slow down to 40 through that. No big deal, right? And everybody should. I mean, gee whiz, we got to take some responsibility. They're going to give us booze now. Don't be stupid. But anyway, let's see. 57 people didn't heed the warning and they were issued citations for speeding. But that's not all. There's more to it. More than 50 officers took part in back to school festivities on Tuesday, and I saw them. They were on Morrison Street in front of St. Mary's School looking for clowns that were hammering it through there. I'm sure they caught a couple. They always do. Yeah, so they're up, but they weren't just looking for speeders. They were looking for seatbelt offenders, distracted drivers, and aggressive driving as well. So they're looking for anything you're going to do wrong. They were gonna pull you over. In addition to speeding tickets, 29 tickets were issued for other offenses under the Highway Traffic Act. 56 warnings were also issued, and 3 people were collared for having outstanding warrants for their arrest. How about that? Geez, they can pose as school guys, and they're going to catch crooks that are have outstanding warrants. The only thing I have a problem with is the warnings. Like, what were they given warnings for? You're either speeding through the zone or you're not. Why would they give you a warning? Give you a ticket. I don't get that. Warnings don't stop bad behavior. You know that. Give them a warning and they just drive away going, oh, I got away with it that time. I'm lucky. And then you go back the next day and do the same thing. A nice ticket usually gives you something to think about. That's usually what gives you something to think about. So I'm not sure what the warnings were, but they were out there. I warned you. I said, slow down. And you know what? Don't let your caution down. They're still out there. Don't worry about it. They're still out there watching. If you go down Montrose Road by Greendale School, yeah, they got the radar trap, and the Blade Runner hasn't got to them yet, so they're still working. Now they're starting to call this guy that's going around cutting them all down the Blade Runner. I love it. What a great name, the Blade Runner. He's going around cutting down these speed cameras. I guess people don't like him. That's why he's cutting them down. That's what I would say. Somebody doesn't like him. So we're calling him the Blade Runner. Yeah, and I got to keep watching the time. There's this cheap watch I got. The cheap $5 watch doesn't keep very good time. You got to throw it in the garbage when I get home. But bring out one of my good ones. This is a El Cheapy Deepy $5 watch. That's what you get, right? You got to watch it. Don't work. It runs, but it don't tell time. So Back to the Future. Here we go. Back to the Future. John Ringo Beam posted an interesting story on Facebook about the future of public transit in Niagara, and it has to do with EV buses and them testing them out to see how they work. And this little testamundo could cost a whopping $42 million. Ouch! $42 million fazools to implement a pilot study to test the buses. Yeah, I can't even imagine this. This is crazy. 42 million fazools, taxpayer dollars, to test out EV buses. And of course, you can't just pay the 42 million for the buses. I mean, there's going to be infrastructure, charging stations, and whatever else. And then when they run out of juice, you got to have a tow truck or something to go drag them back to the charging stations, the terminal. Or whatever. I mean, and then deal with that. So I don't know about this. This is what they're saying, I think. And I think John had a better point. Rather than blowing the 42 million bucks on the scam, because we know EVs are junk and have a very short lifespan before the batteries are rendered useless, and then it costs you more for the batteries than you paid for the vehicle. Especially in the winter months. I mean, these batteries don't last long. I mean, the cold is no good for a battery. Everybody knows that, except I guess the region. But he said, listen, other communities are trying them and they have them. So let's go to other communities and find out how they're making out. Let them do the tests. And we save our $42 million. Then we can make an educated decision as to exactly what we want to happen with these. Now, to me, that makes the most sense. I would say that makes the most sense. But, what do I know, right? Like I said, I'm just a dummy behind a microphone. And if I see you shaking your head, I'm not going to be happy. Yes, yes. But yeah, so we'll see what they're going. But good pick up there, John. You always have interesting stories about what's going on in the city and the region. And I tried to get John on the show, but this guy is busy. He's the Iceman. He delivers ice. He goes out and buys ice, sells it to stores, and delivers it. So this guy's on the road. He's not around. But when you get him in here, he's a pretty interesting guy to have in here, and he knows a lot. But, this is all just a waste of taxpayers' dollars in the name of climate change committees, climate change putting money aside. And since that's something that's not wanted or needed, I mean, why do you think these big car companies are dropping their programs? Because they can't sell cars. Nobody wants them. All the tree huggers and the climate change people, they already bought their Teslas and their EVs. They got them. Now the market's done. Everybody wants one. It's got one. The rest of us have a logical, sensible piece of machinery, gas powered, and all that we have to do is get Trump in to pump gas, drill, baby, drill, and the prices have come down for us a lot. But nobody's buying these things. And when nobody buys them, they stop making them. They got fields of them, and all of them are doing it. It's Landis, Volkswagen, the whole bunch of them. What the heck's this big truck coming here? Yeah, so at the end of the day, nobody wants them. So we'll see what they do with these buses. But I will hope they don't spend $42 million because that's not good. That's not good. And I mean, this takes us back to the future if you think about it. I mean, you look at any history and photos, historic photos or anything of downtown Niagara Falls or St. Catharines. What do they have? Electric-powered streetcars, and some had electric-powered buses, too. Hamilton had them, I remember. Toronto had them. Big wires up and down the main streets where the buses ran, and they were powered by overhead wires. Hundreds of them, a big grid of them, getting them all over the place, and that's what they did. So we're going back to the 1900s, early 1900s, 1920s, where they had electric streetcars and after they got rid of the horse-drawn streetcars, electric streetcars, and electric buses. So we're back to the future. Good old days are coming back. And no. We do not want to go back. We don't want to go back. Forget about these EVs. Give us gasoline. Give us the good old diesels, clean-running diesels that do their job. That's what we want. Anyway. See what happens with that. Keep your eyes on regional council on the budgets to see if they allocate any dollars this wacky scheme. Okay, my second sponsor, Hamilton Glowstone Lighting. Let's talk about them for a second because you like to have lights on your house during Christmas and Canada Day, and some people do decorations for Halloween and St. Patrick's Day. They're really into it. Well, you know what? Climbing up those ladders, hanging those lights, and everything else, a pain in the butt. So what do? You call Hamilton Glowstone Lighting, the leaders in outdoor permanent lighting. And what do? Well, Colin Buckborough comes to your house, he checks it out, figures out what you're going to need to light up your house, and gives you an estimate on it, a free estimate, and then you decide to go ahead with it. He's going to come in, and he's going to professionally install these lights. They're track lighting. They're all LED, so they're really, really good on your pocketbook. Your hydrometer isn't going to be spinning in circles. He's going to come install them in zones so that you can change the zones to different colors, so red and green for Christmas, that kind of thing. And they're all controlled from your phone. Get your phone up, BB, a million different colors, you're good to go. Now, these have a lifetime warranty. All the joints, they're not plug-in joints. No. They're soldered and sealed and impervious to dust and moisture. So you don't have to worry about that. Like I had a rope light on my front porch that got short-circuited with water and caught on fire. I'm going, what the heck? There's nothing to burn. It's all concrete. Oh no, that's right. It's those stupid rope lights. So no more of that nonsense. No more putting them up, taking them down. All installed. They match your house. You don't even see them in the daytime. And what do you do to get these? You call Colin Buckborough. Colin Buckborough, 289-969-1797. He's going to come down, give you a quote for these lifetime warranted lights. I mean, they add value to your house. They light up your walkways, your paths, your driveway, everything. It's a safety factor. It's a value factor. And not only that, they make your house look beautiful. Once again, Colin Buckborough, Hamilton Glowstone Lighting, 289-969-1797. And if you want to go to the website and check out the beautiful work that Colin does, just go to glowstonelighting.com, just like it sounds, glowstonelighting.com. You get a good gallery of all the work that he does. Thank you for sponsoring us, Hamilton Glowstone Lighting, and thank you to our listeners for supporting our sponsors. Tell them Paul from your city, your voice sent you. These local councils have no balls. I mean, everybody's going, what, you just discovered that? Well, no, I knew it before, but they really don't. I watch these guys now. St. Catharines, the regional council, right? Not St. Catharines. The regional council came up and said, listen, no more signs and cards and protest stuff in the gallery. We don't want any of that in the gallery. That was a couple weeks ago. They came down with that because people were bringing in, improper flags and defamatory signs or threatening, offensive language, imagery considered hate speech or directed at specific individuals. So they said, no more. We're going to nip this in the bud. We're going to just do a blanket thing. None of these in the gallery. That's all there is to it. Right. And now they've overturned that. They folded and they reversed their decision. And I'm just going like, why? You did the right thing, because I've been telling city council on my show for months and years now, don't raise any flags except the Canadian flag and the city flag if we have one. No flags. Why get into controversy about this stuff? Why get into it? Our municipalities and our region councils are not geopolitical units. They don't deal in fights around the world. So here's the problem. If you raise the Ukrainian flag, if it's offensive to you, well, maybe it's not offensive to you, but Russians might not like it. If you raise the Russian flag, Ukrainians might not like it. If you raise one flag, these other guys, though, everybody hates it. You know what I mean? Why get into it? The best is to ban them all, which they did, and now they're saying, oh, these civil liberty union clowns and everything else. They're coming up and blah blah blah. But they had it right. Ban them all, and let the civil liberty people fight it out. But why bring it to council chambers? But Councillor Joyce Morocco, said she authored the amendment. Well, she has it wrong. And why the rest of the liberal council would go along with this is beyond belief. They got it right in the first place. I mean, sign bans are not out of character for a lot of councils. There's many councils that don't allow it. They understand that one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter, and just stay away from these controversies by banning all of them. I mean, that's what I would do. If I was elected to city council, I'd get up there, that's the first motion I make, ban everything. No signs in chambers, no flags being raised, nothing. And even with this reversal, it's going to be applied selectively. Who's going to decide if a sign is defamatory or not? If it's threatening or offensive or contains imagery considered hate speech or directed at specific individuals. Can I have a sign that says regional council sucks? It's not directed at anybody except regional council as a whole. And it's an honest statement. I consider it an honest statement. So why can't I have a sign that go in there in the meeting and have a thing that says regional council sucks? But they probably wouldn't let me have that. Even though they should. That's called freedom of speech. I have the right to say regional council sucks if I want to. So what's the problem? Why can't I have a sign? I mean, you might be offended by rainbow ribbons. You might be offended by pink ribbons, red ribbons, blue ribbons. You're going to wear them. You might be offended by poppies, right? You might be offended if you wear a hat that says Merry Christmas. Are you not allowed to wear that because it offends someone? Like, who's going to make these decisions? It's a never-ending question, and it's made complicated by these woke councils. It's mind-boggling. Just say no to everything. Then you don't have to worry about the guy walking in with the Merry Christmas hat. You don't have to worry about anything, right? No messages, no nothing. Come in and that's it. But you know what? They make it complicated. They got to go one way or the other. They can't do it and then not do it, and they just have to have balls and get it done, and that's it. And deal with the fallout after. But ultimately, they're making the right decision by not even getting involved in any of this. And then of course they're going to ban wooden sticks on signs. You can't have a stick, that kind of thing too, because you might just clobber somebody with the stick. I don't know. It just divides people. Why unite everybody? Come to city council meeting, listen to what we have to say. If you have something to say, get up and speak. That's fine. But they also have to keep it to issues, regional issues or city issues. They can't get up there and talk about Palestine and Hamas and the injustices and blah, 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 blah. No, that's not what city councils and regional councils are for. We could talk about bad roads and stinky sewers and garbage on the streets and homelessness and the things that really matter to a city, right? That's what matters to our city. I don't, what do I care about what Hamas is doing and Palestinians are doing? I have an opinion, but really, in a city council meeting, like that's not what it's for. That's not what it's for. Oh man, oh man. So here we go. Let's go down to the Parks Commission here. I read this story now too. And I'm doing pretty good here. I'm not getting really mad. Yeah, I'm not really getting mad. You notice that, right? My blood pressure's good. I'm 127 over like 70 or something like that. And it's just hanging tough. I'm doing really good here. Nothing to really get mad about. And that's a good thing, right? That's a good thing. So the guys down at the Parks Commission, I guess they have no shame. Recycling old ideas that never work seems to be the order of the day. We saw the balloon rise again in Niagara Falls, New York, that balloon that never worked out, and they took it away. Now they got the big balloon back, balloon rides for $50. It was a failure before. And we have now we have another one coming back on our side. The stink of the brink, that's what I used to call it. And it's about to happen down the park. So 20 years ago, the city got taken for a wad of money by the parks for an outdoor skating rink. Well, it wasn't by the parks, really. It was by the Winter Festival of Lights. They called it the rink at the brink, and I called it the stink of the brink because the whole deal stunk to high heaven. Imagine putting an open-air skating rink, an ice rink, in a place where there's mist every day. It's raining every day down there. What happens to mist when it freezes? If you don't know the answer to that, wait till about January and go down to the park and see what happens to the trees in the ground on a cold winter day when there's mist flying. Now take that a step further and imagine what mist does to a skating rink. And especially around here where rinks don't last long. We get warm temperatures in January that'll melt any rink. But, the answer to that, of course, you know what it is. There's going to be a pebble effect. It's going to be like a curling rink, and you can't skate on that. But that's what happened, and nobody used it. The thing went broke, and the city council of the day, had, in their wisdom, loaned the people running the show about $500,000. And I don't know if we got that money back. I never did hear if we got it back. I think we might have, the loan we gave them, but maybe not. They did go broke. You have to ask Dino Fazio. He was the one running the Winter Festival of Lights back then, I think, and ask him if he knows where the money went. You see him around. He's hanging around the city. The stink operated for 4 money-losing years and was finally dismantled for good and basically sold for scrap. I mean, nobody wanted it. I don't know why the city didn't just grab it back. We did loan them, I don't know, maybe $500,000 or something. And we should have grabbed it and put it downtown here and had an outdoor skating rink for the people. Now, the park wants to put an outdoor artificial ice skating rink loop down in the parks. So they haven't had enough. They're going to use artificial ice this time. Here's the idea: a walkable path that magically turns into an ice skating path in the winter months. It would meander around the parks north of the Floral Showcase. That's down by the Rankin Power Station and all that down there. And run from November, when the Winter Festival of Lights starts, and run through to the March break. Okay, so it's going to run all that time. We don't have to worry about weather because it's artificial. That's the most sensible thing about it. It's artificial. We don't have to worry about that. But mist, if it's blowing the right way, it's still going to get on it and freeze on it, which is going to make it pretty weird. They would receive more than $1 million in federal funding. Well, isn't that nice? Federal funding. Well, that's our money. That's our money. Never forget that. Provincial funding, federal funding, regional funding, city funding. They all mean money out of our pockets because the government has no money to fund anything. It's taxpayer money. When you see that word funding or harmonized, they're going to harmonize the skating rink. Your somehow your pocket's going to be picked somewhere along the line. So anyway, they say it's going to get $1 million of federal funding and is expected to open November 2025. But they said more likely November 2026. Geez, that's when the election is, isn't it? How about that? Isn't that strange? Yeah, so they don't mention the city being involved at all, but if somehow we hear the taxpayer dollars are going towards this from city coffers, I'm going to definitely be on it and letting you know about it. We're going to have to watch the budgets closely. We got burned once years ago. We don't want to get burned again on a deal like this. So we got to watch and see if they're putting in for any kind of grants from the city or anything. But I don't think so. This is the Parks Commission running it this time, not Winter Festival of Lights. So when they do stuff, the parks, they usually do it right. They don't ask us for any money. They're a self-sufficient organization. They'll somehow make money off it, like the zip line and everything else they do, right? That's the way they are. They can do that. So now being south of the brink may help this time too, because they're not going to get so much mist maybe down that way a little bit. So good luck to the parks. Who knows? It might well be a great attraction for people coming in the city to enjoy the Winter Festival of Lights and winter attractions in Niagara. And they'll probably be renting skates, so people who come can go, oh, look, a nice skating path, and they rent a pair of skates, and away they go. Which will be actually, it's not a bad idea. Like outdoor skating at the world's biggest venue. I mean, the Niagara Falls. It's one of the 7 natural wonders of the world. It's not a bad thing. Pretty awesome, really. It makes for some great pictures and videos. But still, you got to figure out, the climate down there. It's got its own climate almost around the falls. It's always cloudy and there's always mist and it's always raining, and depending on which way the wind blows, it's always crazy down there. So see how it works out. But hey, there you go. Back to the future. Here we go. Going back to the future again. Let's move over to Canadian government here. Canadian governments. Don't mind me. I'm just keeping looking at the time because I got this $5 watch that doesn't work. Well, Jimmy Dhaliwal has finally succumbed to the pressure of the public and has torn up the agreement he has with Justin Castro, the one that formed the unholy alliance to destroy Canada. Yep, Jimmy Dhaliwal. You might know him as Jagmeet Singh. His real name is Jimmy Dhaliwal. And he's torn it up. He's torn up their agreement, saying he can't support the Liberal government anymore and blah, 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 which, you know what? He's full of baloney, this guy. Are they allowed to eat baloney? I don't know. But if they are, he's full of it. And What he says about tearing this agreement up means nothing, nothing, nothing. Don't let these guys fool you. This is all gaslighting because unless he actually votes to bring Trudeau down, votes against his government and brings him down, it means nothing. If he supports him, he supported him for how many years without an agreement, right? So so you don't need this agreement for him to support Castro. He's gonna. The reality is, this guy's a mooch, and he needs that big pension, and has to get elected again. So this is something that in his riding to get elected again, he's gonna do because he wants the big pension and everything else that goes with it. And he's not doing that good. The NDP and him. Now, people think that this means an election, but it doesn't. No. It doesn't mean anything. It's just a big show, a big bunch of baloney. These guys put on the dog and pony show for you. Oh, and you go, oh, look at this. Yeah, he's had enough too. We've had enough too. He's going to bring him down. No, he's not going to do nothing. He's not going to do nothing. As if anything, he's going to get more of his way with whatever he wants to do in his socialist and Marxist views. He's going to get more of that now because Trudeau's afraid he could bring him down. He might bring him down. At least the pact they had was something to stand on, but now he's got nothing to stand on, so it's even worse. And don't get too excited about this carpetbagger. He's never done anything good for people of Canada. I don't expect him to change his stripes at this point. What he did is all for optics. He has to keep himself in Ferraris and Rolexes and Mercedes and everything else. Don't you know? Don't trust him. You knew I was a snake. Yes, Jimmy, we know. You knew I was a snake when you took me in. And I don't know if you ever heard Trump tell the story about the snake, but that's a story about a snake right there. Their nature is to bite you. Now, this is really, really kind of crazy. I read this story and I'm going, what the hell? An act of vandalism against 91.7, the Giant FM, and Country 89.1 were silenced for 4.5 hours by this act of vandalism. These two big radio stations in the area. They deliver a lot of news, a lot of information. Their towers even carry a signal from a wireless provider in the area. And somebody went in and they broke into a box that contained specialized wires connecting the station to the broadcast towers and cut the wires and removed sections of the wires after shutting down the breaker. So they knew what they were doing. They went in, shut down the power, and then cut these cables. Why would anybody do that? Why would anybody do that? And who would know how to do that? Like, I wouldn't even know where to find the box. Number one, if I opened it, I wouldn't even know what to do with it. So this is a pre-planned, obviously. Dave Devine, program director for the stations located on Forks Road in Welland, said that this all happened after 6 a.m. yesterday morning. Or was it maybe it was Tuesday morning? Yesterday was absolute. I keep forgetting. And they shut down the power, turned off the station, and also severed the internet link for the station, as well as Niagara Wireless Internet Company, which uses the same tower to service about 35 of internet customers in that area. Vine said the vandalism is suspicious since the vandals were smarter than he would have thought, breaking into the breaker box, turning off the power before cutting the cables, and technicians were quickly brought in to fix it. But it's not an easy task because it's not like splicing a couple of wires. They removed sections and they had to run a whole new wire from wherever the last cut was to the one by the towers. And they were brought in and it took about 4.5 hours to do it, but thousands of dollars to fix this. And the station was using a backup system, so it managed to get on air again. And it's going to have to order new equipment because when they cut the power, they also blew out the equipment. And they're going to have to get new equipment to replace it before they can go back to their normal procedure. So they're using backup systems right now to play and everything. I mean, if I look at it, just, Sherlock Holmes style here, Pink Panther, Clouseau, I'd say it had to be an inside job. Somebody had to know what to do here, know which box was the one to get in, shut off the power, cut the cables. They had to know what equipment to bring to cut these cables. And since radio is a federally controlled media, right? It's well, I don't know what's called in Canada, CFTA maybe. The states, it would be the broadcasting network or whatever the heck it is. I don't know. I don't know the three-letter words for it, but I think it's CFTA in Canada. Correct me if I'm wrong. But an attack on that could be a federal offense. So whoever did this could be in pretty big trouble since they really didn't steal anything. It's just more of an attack on the station, and Divine couldn't figure out a motive for the vandalism. It really doesn't make any sense other than to disrupt broadcasting for as long as they could. The damage is going to be covered by insurance, I believe. So it's just a strange act of vandalism for no particular reason that they can think of. So, but I'd say it had to be somebody who has a grudge on the inside and said, yeah, we'll fix you. We'll take this all out and get you off the air for a while. Maybe they thought it would be a lot harder to fix. They wouldn't be back on in 4 or 5 hours. It was going to be off for a couple of days, but whoever it was had to have some kind of inside info. I would say that would be my first guess, but I'm just playing Sherlock Holmes here. Thanks to Mike Zettel of Niagara this week for the great write-up in the review. Check it out. Just a weird story why anybody would do that. It's almost like somebody going up to Cogeco in Hamilton and climbing a tree and then cutting their fiber optic cables, and to put all of us out down here for a while with our internet until they could splice them all back together and to get them running again. But I don't know why anybody would do that. There was nothing to be gained. They didn't steal anything, really. There wasn't a lot to be gained from it. So pretty bizarre. Pretty bizarre, to tell you the truth. Anyway, hope they're back up and running now, I would believe. So, yeah. Okay, so another strange accident in Niagara Falls. That was another strange accident. A 36-year-old woman was killed in a car accident between a bicycle and a car. It happened at 1 a.m. as a 30-year-old Niagara Falls man was riding a bicycle on McLeod Road at around 1 a.m. and he was pulling a wagon behind the bicycle, and the woman who got killed was sitting in this wagon. I mean, that right there, there's a lot of questions to be asked there. The bike wagon combo was clipped by a car. The woman was riding in the wagon behind the bike and got seriously injured and died from her injuries. The woman was found to be in critical condition when the EMS and cops got there. And of course, like I say, she passed away from her injuries. The bike driver also had serious injuries and was taken to the hospital. I don't get this. This is pretty bizarre. Let me put it that way. I wouldn't think that this is 1 a.m, a bicycle pulling a wagon behind it. It just doesn't really seem like something that is normal. 43-year-old Thorold woman was the one who hit the bike wagon combo. She wasn't injured. And the accident, of course, is under investigation. And I don't know about anybody else, but to me, this was kind of preventable. I mean, bicycle pulling a wagon behind it on the road. Like, why not the sidewalk at 1 a.m? There's nobody there. Is there no sidewalks there? Maybe there isn't. I never looked. But, right there doesn't show a good judgment by the bicycle guy or the woman in the wagon. Doesn't sound like safe to me doing something like that. And, I don't imagine the wagon had reflectors or anything on it. So they're going down McLeod Road. I can see, I think they didn't mention anything about the woman being, drunk driving or anything like that. So I'd have to think that, we haven't heard all of it, of course, but we have to see when it comes out. But what a sad situation. It's sad for the woman who died. And condolences to the family of the victims, the guy who got hit on the bike and the woman as well. I mean, 36 young to die in an accident that probably could have been prevented. May she rest in peace. But I just found this to be a real strange story. And why anybody would be riding around like that at night, I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait till the bicycle guy, if he lives, and he's going to live, I believe. He didn't say he was in that bad condition. He was going to die. Have to wait to see what he says and see what the police find out from their investigation. But condolences to the family. It's a terrible, terrible thing. Too bad. And I don't imagine the drivers. She's probably in pretty traumatic state right now too. I mean, I can't say if she was impaired or not. I don't know. I didn't. That's just the story that I read. So we're gonna have to wait to find out if there was toxicology done or exactly what the situation is. But I know a lot of these bike riders and people who ride these scooters that at night. Sometimes they don't have lights, and when you're coming up on them without any reflectors or anything, you don't even know they're there till you're right on top of them. And if you're, if they happen to weave out or something, you're beat. And there's a lot of people who walk around like that too. They walk with traffic, with their back to traffic rather than walking towards you. And they, even bicycles are riding towards you either rather than riding with traffic like they should. There's a lot of people who are breaking the rules with all kinds of things, and then accidents happen. And what are you going to do? So I don't know. We'll see what happens with this. So we get another report on it. But too bad for the family. So tomorrow, finally Friday, Peter Dichter is coming in. Peter Dichter. I'm going to write that down now so I don't forget he's coming in. He's coming in for the show. And of course, I'm going to be working on the weekend on City Council agenda because we have the City Council agenda review on Tuesday. And of course, the meeting starts at 4 o'clock on Tuesday afternoon. So we're going to be here, Dave Wheeler and I. We're going to be giving you the lowdown on the agenda, what's going on, what they're doing, how they're going to do it, how we think they're going to do it, our opinions on what they're doing, which are always funny. And we'll go from there. So that's what I do on the weekends, I get the agenda out, I read through it, put notes on it, make notes. Takes me about probably 4 to 6 hours, believe it or not, by the time you go through everything, depending on the size of the agenda and how many PDFs there are to read. And how many planning matters where I got to go to Google Earth and look at the street and look at the planning matters, see what's going on, find out what's everything about it. So, like you'd think I was on city council or something, the way I go through it. But you know what? You can't sit here and talk about it if you don't know what the heck's going on, right? So I do my homework. I do my homework on it and say, so does Wheels, so we can come in and talk about it logically. So we kind of know what we're talking about. We don't know everything because, that's the problem with the agenda. It doesn't give us all the information that the counselors get, I don't think. And the counselors have access to a lot of background information we don't. In other words, if they don't know something, they can go to staff, they can go to whoever, and they can get information. So when they make a decision, it can be informed. And the good counselors do that. The other ones just come to the meeting and flip through the pages with me and ask dumb questions. But anyway, that's what we're going to do for Tuesday. Monday's going to be just Manic Monday, and that's it. Wednesday, absolutely. And Thursday and Friday, the usual Straight Talk Thursday, and finally Friday. So anyway, here we are again. We're at Straight Talk Thursday. We're done. I'm out of here. Thanks for listening in. My name is Paul K. Lemire. This is Your City, Your Voice, coming to you live from downtown Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada, right across from the Meteor Crater in the studios of 4680Q. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning into the radio. I'm looking at the radio now like they can see me. Thank you for tuning into the video. I know you're going to be able to see me when I post this in a couple hours on YouTube. And don't forget, support our sponsors. They're really great people, and they run good businesses in the city, and they give back to the city as well. That's Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop and Hamilton Glowstone Lighting, our sponsors. As well, when you get to the YouTube, subscribe so you know when I'm going to be on. You can watch the show every day and go back and watch volumes of the show from past shows. Catch up on stuff. You also want to hit the notification, give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Give us the thumbs and give a comment. If you put comments on there, I read through them and I usually talk about them. So if you put a good comment on there with a question or a comment or an opinion, I'll usually bring them into the show and I talk about them and my view on them with you, and away we go. Anyway, have a great day, everybody. It's beautiful out there. Enjoy the last vestiges of summer here. We never know when it's going to turn. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow with Finally Friday, and Pete Dichter will be in the house. Ciao, ciao. For now, have a great day. Have a great day. Have a great day. I turned it off before. Have a great day. to my video people as well. Thank you very much for tuning in.